Welcome everybody to our Flow webinar today. The topic of today is about enabling supply chain agility through network visibility. And we are so happy that many people have registered. And as far as I see, most of you have already joined on time. I really appreciate it. So we are all ready to start now. Yeah, so first of all, let me have some few words about ourselves as speakers today. So joining the webinar will be Kai Peters, Director for Flow Software, who has more than 20 years of experience in supply chain business development and dedication for identification of business requirements for software application.
Hello, everybody.
Thanks, Kai. And we also have Matthias Exler, Senior Expert of Software Sales.
Yeah, also welcome from my side. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Matthias. And myself, Nhung Nguyen, responsible for product marketing activities. In the next 20 minutes, we would like to walk you through the different aspects of network visibility, which is considered to be the first fundamental step to building an agility in your supply chain. So in order to do so, we will have a quick definition of network visibility and its benefit, then explaining the usual barriers that companies have when building a network visibility, as well our speaker will share some experience on how to overcome this challenge. So please feel free to place your questions if you have any in the chat box. We will have then at the end around 10 minutes for Q&A, where we hopefully can answer all of the questions that you placed here. So without further ado, let's have a look at the statistics that we have here. So a survey from Gartner in 2021 shows that 87% of companies planned investments in supply chain resilience in the next 2 years. So Matthias, can you explain us the reason for this trend toward agile supply chain nowadays?
Yeah, sure. And I also guess that the answer to that is quite simple because it offers many benefits that can help companies to respond to disruptions and also stay competitive in the market. So I think that the main reason why almost 90% of companies are planning to invest in agile supply chains is the basically continued high pressure in the market, as well as ongoing disruptions still caused by events such as COVID and also the war in the Ukraine. So these disruptions basically highlighted the need for companies to be flexible and also adaptable to changing market conditions and, of course, also customer demands. And when speaking of customer demands, I also believe that the increasing demand for speed and flexibility is another reason why agile supply chains are gaining more and more popularity. So customers today really expect faster delivery times, greater customization options, and overall more flexibility in supply chains than basically ever before. So agile supply chains really help companies to finally meet these demands. Yeah, and on the other hand, you have to say that there are a lot of traditional supply chain models which are often too slow, really unflexible, and as a result, unable to respond quickly to changes in the market. And these models then really can be a bottleneck for companies trying to compete in a fast-paced environment. Agile supply chain models, on the other hand, actually prioritize adaptability as well as flexibility and responsiveness, which is in the end, allowing them to emphasize collaboration and also transparency in order to work more closely with their partners and also their customers at the same time. However, I think that the first challenge to implementing an agile supply chain is always transparency. So companies need visibility into their supply chain to really identify these potential bottlenecks, anticipate disruptions, and then finally make informed decisions. And without that visibility, at least I believe that it's almost impossible to make necessary changes in order to achieve an agile supply chain.
Thanks, Matthias. And as you already referred to supply chain visibility, so maybe could you have a definition of visibility here so that we are all on the same page?
Yeah, sure. I believe there are many definitions. One would be definitely that supply chain visibility can be defined as the ability to track individual components, sub-assemblies, and final products as they travel from supplier to manufacturer to consumer. And in addition to that, I would also say that it clearly involves providing a clear and complete information about the supply chain network's operation and performance. So this means that companies have the ability to monitor and understand how their supply chain network is functioning. And that is really by sharing information, for example, about locations, transport, throughput, and other relevant data, and doing that with all stakeholders. So this really enables quick identification of issues, which in the end can be critical to mitigating negative impacts and also maintaining customer satisfaction. So in practical terms, supply chain visibility involves collecting and analyzing data and at every step of the supply chain process, basically. And by making this data available to all stakeholders, companies can really gain insights into the performance of the whole network and as a result, can identify areas for improvement.
Yeah, so that means that supply chain visibility is really the ability to check and give an overview of activities in the supply chain, right? So
Exactly.
yeah, so we have done several secondary research and found that the investing in supply chain visibility become increasingly more important. For example, 59% of manufacturers being asked have said that improving supply chain visibility was their single most important business priority. So from your experience talking with a lot of supply chain manager and planners, can you please explain why the visibility is so important and that it should be the first step in building an agile network visibility?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, I can definitely attest to the fact that supply chain visibility is critical for building an agile supply chain network. And also based on my experience, it is also the crucial first step that companies must take when seeking to improve their supply chain performance. Because without it, companies are basically operating in the dark. They are unable to fully understand or respond to the complexities of the network. And with network visibility, however, companies can really gain the insights that they need in order to make informed decisions and drive greater agility into their operations. And when looking at some of the benefits of the supply chain visibility, it becomes really obvious that they are all somehow interconnected and really built up onto each other. Firstly, better planning through visibility can improve the management of inventory or production, reducing the likelihood of stockouts or excess inventory. This not only leads to a better customer service, because with better planning, you can more quickly respond to demand changes and provide better delivery estimates, but also results in reduced lead times, allowing for faster turnaround and delivery times. Furthermore, improved quality control can be achieved through better tracking and management of inventory and production processes. This basically leads then to a reduction of errors and defects, enhancing the overall customer experience. So additionally, also supply chain visibility leads to cost savings, as many companies really can optimize their transportation or inventory management with the goal, for example, to reduce the cost of holding excess inventory. Also, enhanced collaboration with suppliers and partners in the supply chain leads to better communication and coordination of activities. And all this is essential for companies to achieve a better risk management, anticipating and mitigating potential supply chain disruptions, such as natural disasters or even geopolitical events. And especially the risk management, I believe, is more important than ever before. Right, Kai?
Yes, correct. Thank you, Matthias. So, and there's something new coming into the picture, and that's what we call VUCA. And VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So it describes the situation of a constant, unpredictable change that is now becoming more and more the norm, the normal in certain industry and in certain business areas. And VUCA demands that you have to walk away from the traditional, little bit outdated approach to manage your supply chain and your day-to-day working. So supply chain visibility, and that's what we talked about before, enables companies to make data-driven, fast decisions, and that's what is needed. And what I mean is this is really essential in a what we call now in a VUCA world. So, and having said this, we have also here some data coming from other reports saying that only 13% of the companies can really map their entire supply chain network, and on top of this, 22% of the companies can only map until the first supplier, so the first relationship. So this overall means that over 50% have really lacking end-to-end visibility in their supply chain. And if we come back to the VUCA world, so if only 13% of the companies can map their entire supply chain, how would they like to manage their supply chain?
Yeah. So what are the reasons behind this visibility shortage? And do you have any suggestion on how to overcome this challenge from your experience?
Yes. So our experience says that certain barriers are there. So there's a poor alignment between different departments or different partners, so that the data that are available, but they are siloed, so not available to everybody. So we need to find a way to overcome these difficulties. And then the second point is that the data are not necessarily synchronized. So the data are not matching in a way, and then you don't have a real picture and you can't see anything. So, and of course, even if we say, okay, we can bring everything together, there's also some semantic difficulties that the data are not matching or not available in one system. So, but I'm sure that these challenges can be overcome and that we can really go behind these barriers. And by doing this, then companies have the full visibility and then they can start to improve their overall supply chain performance. And of course, a decent way of doing that is by leveraging new technology. Right, Matthias?
Exactly, Kai. And of course, there are several challenges that can be overcome by adapting technology. And one of them, and that's also my favorite, is definitely mindset. So companies, as you said, are still somehow stuck in traditional ways of thinking about supply chain management. They view supply chain mainly as a cost center and not as a strategic asset that could eventually drive competitive advantage. So this really leads to a lack of investment and also a failure to prioritize supply chain transparency as that strategic goal. So adapting technology can really help to overcome the challenge of mindset by providing a comprehensive view of the supply chain, which is a good first start to shift the mindset of employees. Like I said, seeing the supply chain not as a cost center, but as a strategic asset. Another approach is to automate manual processes, which can be a significant barrier to achieving supply chain transparency. So many companies are really still rely on these manual processes to track and trace products and also materials in their supply chain. And even for professional Excel users, this can be really time consuming and also a error-prone process, as we can only capture and process so much data at a time. Often these processes then lead to wrong data because simply incorrect data is being entered into a system. So automating manual processes can really help to reduce errors and improve the data accuracy, while also freeing up employees to focus more on strategic tasks. And talking about employees, many companies, as you already indicated, Kai, have really siloed or isolated supply chain functions where each team works somehow in isolation from the others. And this can really lack coordination in the end and also collaboration, which in the end limits the effectiveness of the supply chain as a whole. And technology can help to overcome that challenge by providing one centralized platform for collaboration across all supply chain functions. And this in the end will help to break down the silos and improve communication, which is leading to a better supply chain performance and also a better cost effectiveness. And with all these challenges in mind, and also with the clear goal to help companies to overcome them, we at 4Flow have developed a modern visibility technology called 4Flow Niva, which is an easy to use tool, and therefore we believe the perfect centralized platform to be used across all stakeholders within the company. So 4Flow Niva provides realistic modeling of supply chain networks, which enables companies to identify potential issues or even better, potential opportunities. It visualizes complex baseline networks on interactive maps and also provides KPI analysis with various metrics such as costs, throughput, inventory sizes, which in the end enables companies to monitor performance and also compare the performance over time. So the goal here really is that companies can unfold their potential of their supply chains and being able to make these informed and data-driven decisions. And of course, eventually also improve their agility and responsiveness overall. 4Flow Niva really has a flexible scope for users from all industries, as it is suitable for inbound, outbound, and intercompany networks. It is also considering all modes and means of transportation, and best of all, the tool is supported by user guides and tutorials, which is especially beneficial for onboarding many different or new team members, for example. And even though 4Flow Niva is web-based, it will deliver results in minutes, and nevertheless, it is capable of handling mass data. And with that, it really effectively helps you to achieve the full transparency that is needed over your supply chain network as a whole. So in general, we at 4Flow really believe that transparency is crucial for companies to build an agile supply chain and also stay competitive, especially in a VUCA world. And yeah, achieving transparency, as we have seen, is of course not without its challenges. However, by adapting technology, especially technology that is easy to use and implement, companies can rather quickly overcome these challenges and improve their supply chain performance after all. 4Flow Niva is one good example of a modern visibility technology that supports companies on their way to really get there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks a lot, Matthias, with a rounded answer for the barriers, as well as how to overcome the challenge in network visibility here. So, yeah, I have a question to Kai. So, as a director for Flow Software who dedicate more than 20 years in alignment between the business need and requirement for software application, so could you briefly share a bit on 4Flow's software background and the approach in solving market problem in supply chain?
Yes, sure, I can. So what we have, and that's what Matthias explained. So we have on the left-hand side supply chain network design software. So this is the starting point to create visibility and to work with the data. Yeah, we have a real starting point, the quite interesting part, which is a 4Flow Niva, and then we have another tool which is giving you full optimization possibilities to really create the network. In the middle, we can extend this to an end-to-end transportation management system. We can do this with a traditional transport management system, or we even can do it as an add-on to an SAP TM module. On the right-hand side, we have something quite new into the market from our perspective. So it's the combination, the integration of material planning software and transportation optimization software. So that's quite interesting, quite new. And you see, we have the possibility to really cover from strategic to operational planning systems, all available from ForFlow. And you have the supply chain software right in the middle. So as ForFlow, we can also provide you with consulting services. So if you don't want to do it with the software yourself, we can certainly help you with our consulting colleagues. And by the way, they are using the software for more than 20 years. So there's a lot of experience coming into the picture. And on the right-hand side, it's that we are also offering supply chain services. So if you want to outsource the transportation or the optimization work into a 4PL or control tower service, that's also what we are offering here.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kai, for the overview of software and the sharing on the approach of us. Now it comes to our audience turns to place your question to our speakers. We have roughly 8 minutes. So let me check how many questions we have there. And maybe at the same time, yes, Matthias, would you like to place some special offer to our audience while I'm checking the questions that we have out there?
Yeah, sure. It seems like a good timing to me. So, as Nong already spoiled, we brought you a little something here. So, in case you wanna try out ForFlow Niva for yourself, you can do that now for 1 month free of charge. All you have to do is basically enter Niva into the chat, and we will provide you with your login credentials even by tomorrow. And as said, the tool is pretty much supported by tutorials and a help center. So you would be good to go. Nevertheless, as you already can see our contacts here, feel free to reach out whenever you need some more explanations into the tool. Also, if you need some more insights into the other tools that Kai just mentioned, that's all possible, of course. But yeah, I think now we should be ready to have the first question answered.
For sure. Thanks, Matthias. Yeah, I already have quite a few here, and maybe the first question directly connected to Niva, and it is, how does ForFlow Niva handle data privacy and security concerns, which is quite a very good questions that everyone have now with data privacy. So especially when sharing data with partners in the supply chain network. So maybe Matthias, can you help with these questions?
Yeah, I can try to take this one. Obviously it's an important topic, and ForFlow in general takes data privacy and security very seriously, especially when it comes to sharing data with partners in the supply chain network. So for Niva, I can tell that the access to data is really strictly controlled with user permissions and access rights that are carefully managed and really only relate to the specific user. The tool also uses encryption technologies to protect the data, and in general, it is really aligned with all the strict data protection laws and regulations, including GDPR. So I hope this answers the question.
Yeah, I think so too. The second question here is about agile supply chain management. So I think will be a lot. Maybe Kai can help us with it. I can name it right now. Can you provide examples of companies that have successfully implemented agile supply chain management with the help of ForFlow? And what were the results they achieved?
Okay. Yes. So there are examples for sure. So one example that's coming to my mind is if two companies merge, like we have seen in the automotive industry or between first-tier suppliers. And the expectation if two companies merge is always that they should be some synergies. And the question is where should the synergies come from? And from my experiences, that an easy way to get to the synergies is by really looking into the networks, because the transportation networks are also merging. And we are back to the initial questions, how to get visibility. So, and if we then really load both networks into one system, you can see, okay, that's the system, that are the synergies. You can improve the trucks and the network itself without just squeezing the carriers. You're just improving your network with the things that we have discussed before. And here we have seen that synergies between let's give an estimate, between 7 to 15% are achievable by simply merging the network and take the right decisions.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kite. I have also another question, since we still have time here. So, which person in a company is usually using Niva? So, who could help us answer this question?
Yeah, I could give it a try, but to be honest, it really depends on the use case here, right? So typically, our first touch point is with, for example, logistic planners or also supply chain managers. But as the software is really built to be used across different supply chain functions, the process data can also be shared with other departments. This also includes the upper management, for example. Also, as it depends on the use case, the setup of the tool can be really aligned to a specific customer need. So in the end, the users have control over the data and can decide what should be shared and what shouldn't. But I think a good starting point are always logistic planners or supply chain managers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thanks, Matthias. So we have 2 minutes left and still some questions, but maybe I will pick up one and then the rest we will also answer to the direct audience by email later on. Is that okay? Okay, so the last question, again, another one for Niva, for Flow Niva. So how does Flow Niva integrate with other supply chain management tool, and how easy it is to set up and use?
As we only have 1 minute left, maybe I make this answer short. Niva can integrate with other systems through using flat files, basically. So the data upload can be done with Excel or CSV files. And setting up the system pretty much only involves five steps here. So when you create a new project, you have to upload, for example, location data and shipment data, which can be in an Excel table. And then you basically just create a network based on the different timeframes you want to explore. And by selecting the data view options, you are pretty much good to visualize and analyze. So the integration effort is really low at this point.
Sounds good. Thanks a lot, Matthias, Kai, and also for our audience of placing a lot of interesting questions. Also, thank you for your time and attention. We'll soon follow up with a recorded webinar. And for now, we wish you a nice rest of the day and hope to see you very soon again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.